Hello everybody, welcome back. Happy day to you. There are a few new makeup products that have really been tickling my soul and I have been aching to get my finger pappets on them. Yes, my short nailed, be gone fingers still want to play with new makeup. So let's dive in and put some makeup on the face. Zooming you in so you can get a good look at me. This is not necessarily a new product, but it is a new shade. The very, very lovely Emma from the Dior team sent me the lighter shades of the Dior Forever Skin Glow foundations, which has been just a surprising, complete new favorite of mine. I forever thought that I was gonna wear the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation for my wedding day, and I have been using this one and loving it so much that I totally switched up. And it's just like one of those foundations where, for example, the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation I still love, I will forever have it in my collection. This one's actually like quite similar. It is a little bit more of a dewy finish, and it is a little bit of a lighter formula. Like I'd say that this coverage is light to medium, whereas the Armani Luminous Silk is like a medium coverage. So it kind of just depends what you're looking for. But this is one of the easiest foundations that I have ever had when it comes to applying it and how it wears throughout the day. Like I don't have to think about it. I could literally just slap this on with my eyes closed and it would blend into the skin. It is such a beautiful formula. I am obsessed and I've really been needing the lighter shade. I actually had it in my cart. I was ready. I was going to buy it during the Sephora sale because I can wait 1 week. It's fine. But Emma beat me to it. Emma, I love you so much. Thank you. And besides loving the formula and how it wears and how it looks and everything, what I love is the shade range because I have quite a neutral undertone. I have a lot of pink and red in my skin, but my skin itself doesn't pull very pink or yellow, and a lot of the lighter shades in the world can look like that, and it's kind of hard to find like true neutral shades. So there's been a few like base products and concealers that I've been trying lately that have really been so great in the neutral shades, and this is one of them. So I've been using 2N, which is kind of my like self-tan shade, and then this is actually 1.5N. I thought I was going to be 1N, but 1.5 seems to be a good match, and she's beautiful. This is absolutely in my top picks for the Sephora sale and new favorite bases that I would recommend to you. And the reason why I'm using that today is because oftentimes when I do a new makeup video, I use like a new product in every category, and that doesn't really help us in terms of determining what new products perform like. So I've really been wanting to try the new Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Awakening Concealer. Now I saw so much of this on TikTok specifically. So many people were talking about it and saying how it's a true self-setting concealer, which especially when you're using it for the under eyes, if you're shiny or you love a glow, or if you just get really sweaty like I do. Sometimes it can be nice to have something setting in and doing its thing. And this concealer has a lot of promises. It's a medium coverage concealer and it kind of promises to do all the things. It says it won't settle into your fine lines. It's gonna brighten up the skin, literally make your skin look awakened, cover all the spots, cover all the dark circles. Like it's kind of promising to be an everything concealer. And in terms of application, it says that you can apply it with your fingers or with a brush. Because I've been using a brush so much lately for blending out my concealer, I think it's going to be a nice true test to see how it looks. And I'm just going to start with little bits at a time just because it does say it's a self-setting concealer, so I don't want to like apply it all over my face and then leave it to set in and be immovable when I blend it out later. So we're just going to go ahead and blend it as we go. I'm going to go between using my brush as well as my finger and see how it goes. So in the application how to use instructions on the Sephora page, it says to use a shade lighter than your skin tone if you want to have that brightened and awakened look under the eyes. So that's what I'm doing here. I have the shade 140. And speaking of neutral undertones, I actually think this is a really good shade as well. It's kind of giving me the same vibe, same shade as the Tower 28 nude concealer, which I've also really been loving. They actually feel very similar. They're kind of like a tacky, putty, a little bit more of a dry feeling concealer. Like this is actually quite matte on my skin. The Tower 28 one isn't as matte as this, but it's looking pretty matte. And it is settling into my line, like right there under my eye, but I don't know. And we've got quite a glowy base on. Like you can see the difference. I've applied the concealer on this side, and this is like the wet, shiny side of the very glowy foundation and the face cream and my skincare products that I have underneath. And then this has gone completely matte. So definitely self-setting for sure. I don't even know if I'd need to apply powder on top of that, but whoa. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. It also said in the application notes to do a little lifting amount here on the outside of the eye. I feel like I could even use a little bit less product, honestly. A little bit goes a very, very long way. I felt like I was doing such a light application, but it's pretty pigmented. The coverage is there for sure. If you guys saw my updated everyday fall makeup, then you'll know that I've actually been really loving putting a kind of matte, brighter eyeshadow in the inner corners of my eyelid. And this is kind of giving that vibe for me. I feel like I don't even need to go in with that shadow because it really does have an intense brightening effect. I'm gonna use this as a kind of highlighter. I'm just gonna brighten up a little bit in the inner areas of my face because that's where I get super red. So having a little bit of extra coverage there, I definitely enjoy. I think that this shade in particular that I got, I wouldn't use to conceal blemishes. Like I've got a zit there and a zit here, and I'm not gonna specifically spot conceal with this because it is brighter, but to brighten up the inner parts of my face, I'm just gonna apply a little layer. Upon initial application, I really like what I see. It's definitely brightening. You definitely get good coverage from it. But I think that this is not the concealer for an everyday natural makeup girly. This is very much like a glam. I want coverage. I want my makeup to lock in and last all day. I feel like this would be a really good option for those who leave the house and you need your makeup to last all day long. I know this is a first impression. I've had it on my face for 5 seconds, but that is what it is giving me. And it's also more matte and it's setting in, but it's not really like emphasizing my fine lines, and it's not making me instantly dry, which some matte products can do. So I like what I see so far, and I also really like the shade. So what do you think? That's a new concealer. I like what I'm seeing so far. Now moving on to the next very exciting product. I have been so curious to put this to the test, and I keep touching it and playing with it because I was so confused by it at first. This is the new Danessa Myricks Groundwork palette. When I first opened it, I was like, wow, beautiful, stunning neutrals. I didn't really understand what was happening with the 2 separate shades until I realized that it's a velvety pomade and a corresponding eyeshadow or powder to match. So basically in this palette, you get 10 velvet pomade cream products, and then you get matching 10 powders. And according to Danessa Myricks, this is a multi-use palette that you can use everywhere on your face. You can use it on your skin, on your eyes, on your lips, cheeks, sculpting, eyeshadow, whatever you want to use it for. Apparently this is an everything palette. So I've really been curious about this. It does go for, I believe it's 65 USD and 88 Canadian dollars, which is definitely still on the higher end of a palette price. Not as bad as some other palettes that we've been seeing come out lately, but I definitely also think that this is more catered towards the makeup artist or someone who is doing makeup on varying skin tones and perhaps plays a little bit more on different faces. This is great, and it also is very easy to remove each of the pans, which is so nice if you're traveling, if you're a working makeup artist and you want to depot these or just grab a few and take with you. That's a really great option too if you had a little magnetic palette. So I think that's a really nice feature. And again, maybe not catered towards the everyday person, but I don't know. I also know a lot of gals who just love to play with makeup, and it kind of reminds me of like the old OG Kat Von D contour palette, like those similar shades. This is like an extended version of this, and you get like an eyeshadow palette in one. Like it is very much an everything palette. I don't know if that was a great comparison, but hopefully you guys get what I mean. So I wanted to start by using this on my face, and then we can use it on the eyes as well. And I'm excited to play. So I'm gonna start with this shade Chiseled here. And I can't express to you how much of a bizarre texture this is. You can see I had like pressed into this shade here, and I didn't realize it was a velvety pomade at first. I thought it was an eyeshadow, and then ended up like imprinting it deeply. And it's very soft. It is, velvet's the perfect word for it. Very unique texture, and I feel like I'm gonna struggle just grabbing the pomade versus dipping into the shadow also. So I'm gonna start by using this to contour. And it is a little bit of a nice ashy tone, but I feel like it's kind of in the middle. It's not totally gray, like the shade Stone is like a true gray. So I feel like I can get away with using this to warm up the skin as well. As far as neutrals for me, when it comes to an eyeshadow palette, this has everything I need. And I love the idea that I can depot these and put them into a smaller palette for travel. That's very exciting. And I like the variety of shades that you get in here between warm and cool. And there's also a fabulous black. So it really does have everything you need, but perhaps it would seem quite intimidating at first. But if you were just strictly using it as like cream eyeshadows and powder eyeshadows, this would be a really beautiful palette if you loved neutrals. I'm gonna use a little bit of that same chiseled shade and just put that right into my eyes instantly and kind of just use that to sculpt out my crease. This texture feels so unique, and it's really light. Like you look at it and you think it would be a pretty intimidating dark shade for me to put on my very pale skin right now, but it actually has a really nice buildable pigment and goes on very lightly, which is nice. So we can also use these as liners. So I think I'm gonna go into the shade Bark here. That's a nice color. And I'm just gonna use that like I would an eyeliner and apply that onto my lash line. They're so creamy and it's so easy to apply. Look at, whoop, nothing. And so then I'm gonna go into the matching powder, the little shadow, if you will, and use this to set in the pomade, which is allegedly what we're supposed to do. So I'm just fluffily putting that on top of the pomade on the lash line and just a little bit into the crease here. I don't know why I didn't grab a fluffier brush. Sorry, I used a really dense brush there for a sec. It's like, what's happening? These are blending beautifully on top of one another. Of course, I'd expect nothing less from Madame Danessa Myricks herself. I'm going to use a little bit more of bark and just put that on the lower lash line. This is a really pretty brown. It's got like a nuttiness to it. It reminds me of like a chestnut. And I'm going to use the same bark powder and put that on top. That bark shade, love. What a pretty brown. What a pretty brown. I'm going to leave it there. I think I'm just going to let the eyes do their thing like that. Now, allegedly, we can also use the pomades in here as lip liner. I'm a little bit concerned about that because I don't know about the shades for my lips in particular, but I pulled out the Makeup Forever Endless Cacao and I was like, honestly, it's giving chiseled. Like, it's pretty similar in shade, so it would be a travesty to not just try it. You know when you use a word and you're like, is that actually a word or did that just pop out of my brain? Like, what is the definition of travesty? A false, absurd, or distorted representation of something. I think it works. We can use it. Yeah, it works. Okay. I'm going to take a lip brush and chiseled, and let's try to chisel out my lips. Wow! Do you see how creamy that is? It's so easy. Wow. We see you, Danessa. I see what you're doing here. Give me chiseled and bark and a palette, and apparently I have everything I need because, wow, those two colors are lovely. As a lip liner, incredible. So as far as new blush goes, I feel like I haven't been giving enough love to the Nudestix Glow Core blushes. I love the shade Magenta Magic. It's a beautiful bright pink. But this shade Pink Ice, I also feel like is a beautiful everyday kind of neutral pink, and I have not been giving it enough love. And I love me some Nudestix blushes, you guys know. I'm part of the Nudestix fam, so I'm always, oh, I put a lot on there, sorry. I'm always down to play, and I needed to give some of these other shades some love because really this shade Pink Ice is kind of like a glowier version, like more pigmented version of Bareback, which has been the blush that I've just been obsessed with lately. So wow, I just put so much onto my brush. My bad, but that's okay. In these moments we just take our little concealer brush and we go around. Easily fixable. So I do think I'm gonna need a little bit of powder. I'm getting a little bit shiny and on my forehead as well, so I'm just gonna use the Laura Mercier setting powder. My process of using this is dipping my brush into the product and then I take a lot of it off on the palm of my hand and then I apply, and I just really lightly pat it in. And that way I don't put too much because this can be a very drying powder. But if you just use light little layers, then it's okay. I just can't believe I've become a full powder girly. I never saw that coming. That wasn't on my bingo card for 2023, as the kids are saying. And because I've just put my powder on, I'm going to use my Benefit Professional Setting Spray. One product that I just don't ever need to use anything else. I don't need new setting sprays. We've got Benefit, baby. This is just the goat for me. I'm obsessed with this. I don't know how many bottles I've gone through of that now. Countless. Okay, finally, the product that I think I'm the most excited about, because Katie Jane Hughes, we are long-standing fans of Katie Jane Hughes here on my channel. She has taught us so much over the years. Some of my favorite old videos are of meeting Katie Jane Hughes and going to her masterclass. She did a masterclass in Toronto before. I learned so much. I did a whole video on it and a few other things that we learned from other people, but I'm such a Katie Jane Hughes fan, and she's been so good to her audience, and she's taught so many of us so much. So when she first announced that she was working on products to come out with her own brand, I was so excited. I think that first announcement came like 4 years ago. She has been working on this for so long and she has teased it endlessly. And so the day has finally come where Katie Jane Hughes has launched KJH brand, and she started out with this highlighter kit. So this is the first product from KJH brand, from Katie Jane Hughes herself, and I've been so excited to play. I'm not gonna lie, I have like touched it and played with it, but I have been saving my first wear for a wear test on YouTube. So here we go, the highlighting kit. Now, I have mixed feelings about it. I'm gonna be honest, because we've all seen Katie Jane Hughes apply this endlessly on her face and it looks magical. Of course, the formula is gonna be perfect. But talking about the purchasing of it, you have to buy the highlighting kit itself. So this 3-piece highlighter kit runs for $98 Canadian, and there is an option for free shipping for Canada, which is nice. It's nice that she's not charging shipping on top of that. But the one downside to this, and I hope that this will inevitably change because obviously this is the first launch, you never know what's going to come in the future. Obviously she's going to be adding on to this, coming out with more products, and as a business grows, you have the ability to play around and switch things up and try different packaging methods perhaps. But for example, I actually got this in PR. I got it from KJH brand PR, which I was very excited about, and they sent over the shade Light Pink. So there's 4 shades of this particular Hyper Shine Light Pigment. So this is the shade Light Pink, and there's also a beautiful gold, but it looks more like a champagne-y gold. And I was like, oh, I really want to get that shade too, and I wanted to buy it to review as well. But there's not an option to buy the products separately. So no matter what, even if you have the best, most favorite brushes in the world and you don't feel like you need other brushes, it only comes in a 3-piece kit. So if you wanted to try other shades, you're going to get another Hyper Shine serum and you're going to get a brush as well. Alternatively, if you just wanted the Hyper Shine serum, you got to pick a color and you got to get the brush. So I do hope that eventually you'll be able to pick up the product separately, because obviously $100 for a highlighting kit is a lot, and you might not necessarily want all the products. You might just want to try one. So I do hope that that becomes an option in the future, but for reviewing purposes, obviously I'm just going to be playing with the products today. So like I said, I've got the shade Light Pink, and the idea is that this little pigment here, it is creamy, but it's a little bit more on the drier side, but you've got this shiny pigment here, and the idea is that it's a fully customizable product or products. You can use these however you want. The Hyper Shine serum looks so beautiful. It literally looks like a lip gloss, and it's just this like wet, hyper shiny gloss, but it's actually quite tacky, so you obviously feel like it'll wear beautifully onto the face. So you can wear this on its own if you just wanted that like wet, dewy look. Or what I love is that they put it into the pigment, and you can create a shiny highlighter, and you can just customize how much of the pigment you want, how much of the gloss you want. I personally, like, I see Katie Jane Hughes and a lot of people online like mix the brush in here, but I actually quite like getting my finger in here. Maybe it's just because I don't have nails now, but I like getting my finger in here and actually mixing it in, because I feel like then I can see the product that I'm creating. I can see how much of the pigment I'm using. So now I put that on the back of my hand. Like, it's beautiful, really. Let's just put it onto the face. I'm gonna use it with my finger, put it onto the cheekbone, and I feel like I can blend it in with the brush after, but I'm just gonna start by applying this with my finger. And then I'll go over with the brush after and just kind of blend that in. I'm obsessed with seeing all the videos of Katie just literally going like this. She has the most glorious skin on the planet, and she just goes and rubs in the highlighter. Like, come on. Wet, dewy skin, for real. Now, I always wonder about these like super wet products. They look so good in photos and in video and in the kind of editorial sense, but when it comes to wearing throughout the day, it might be a little crazy and it might move around a little bit. It's not necessarily the longest lasting things whenever you put wetness on your face, but that's why it is nice that you can just have the drier pigment by itself if you wanted it to be more long lasting. And it is the most wet, most glossy, dewy thing that you will ever put onto your face. And I just have to say, I love the packaging. I love that she went for a pop of color because she's such a funky gal. We'd expect nothing less from KJH herself. And also, like, everything, the website, all of it looks so beautiful, and it's just so thoughtful, and you just know that she's like poured her heart and soul into this. So I'm really, really excited that she has come out with her first product. I'm excited to see what she comes out with next and in the future, because you know it's going to be gold. And I also hope that they will consider selling these separately. So those are my thoughts. That's my first impression, first application of the product. We are glowing, we are juicy, all of my favorite descriptive words, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. So that's the highlight. Let's go to mascara, because I kind of just left the eyes hanging, but I wanted to revisit the Vive Modern Mascara because I did use this in a recent video and then I went and put fake lashes on top of it. So I wanted to give another proper visual for the YouTube fam. So this is the latest and greatest from Vive, a nice fluffy volumizing mascara with a little hourglass shaped wand, which I'm not gonna lie, for my everyday mascara, I do prefer a wand that's got a more tapered pointy tip because it's easier for me to get into the inner lashes where I often kind of like stab my eyes and I end up getting mascara all over my eyelid if the wand is too thick, you know? It's a beautiful like fluffy volume. It's not too chunky. It doesn't give you really like piecey, goopy spider lashes. It's lovely. That's the mascara applied. Very light, natural volume, I'd say. It's more on that like soft, fluffy mascara end of the spectrum. And now I've just put this on and I'm like, every time I don't set my brows, I always feel like 20-year-old me with my block eyebrows. I'm like, give me the fluff. I need to fluff up my brow. We are feathery brow people now. So I'm just taking my e.l.f. brow lift and fluffing those up. So let's go back to lips, finish off with the lips. It seems to be like lip butter season. Everyone and their mother is coming out with a kind of tinted lip butter, lip peptide, lip balm, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, I recently used the new ones from Nude Sticks, but we have a lot of tinted lip things. One being Rhode. This is the peptide lip tint. We've got 4 lovely shades in here. Very fall appropriate, fall inspired shades here. Instantly, my eyes go to the raspberry jelly, but obviously, I mean, ribbon too. Ribbon is like my everyday, I mean, honestly, all of these. I actually think that these 4 shades are really shades that I would use on the daily, but just in the spirit of fall and all of the berry things, raspberry jelly is where my soul would go. And I really love the packaging, honestly. It's very cute. And I also love anything that gives us a juicy lip. So even though every single brand seems to be coming out with one, I am down. Choose your character, darling. See which flavor and tint works best for you. Honestly, these are a lot more tinted than I thought it was gonna be. It really, this looks like the Revlon lip shines, which I love so much. That's raspberry jelly. I actually feel like it's a little bit more purple than I would have gone for this look. So JK, I'm gonna try ribbon. Oh, that's so pretty. It's glossy, but it's almost sticky too. So you feel like it's actually gonna stay much longer on your lips than your classic lip butter or just regular lip balm. Guys, that one's really nice. I really like ribbon. A slight little kiss of pink. That's very nice. Okay, Miss Bieber. Okay. That's what I'm gonna keep on. I feel like that's the vibe we want. I also have the new Day Mask Peptide Lip Balms in from Persona. And we seem to have a little shade similarity here. This one's the shade Pomegranate. Same but different, friends. Okay, so this is Persona Pomegranate and that is the Rhode Raspberry Jelly. You can see like how much shinier, truly like glossy the Rhode ones are. Whereas this one's a little bit more subtle. Maybe your hair would get stuck in it a little bit less, but I also love this warmer shade versus like the more purple in there. It kind of, I wanna see, yeah. Yeah, I do love that like warmer toasted kind of berry look. So I just pulled out my Charlotte Tilbury Lip and Cheek Glow that I love so much and I wanted to see how it compares. So there's the Charlotte Tilbury versus the Persona Pomegranate. So very much that more like warmer side versus this very like, it's a brighter purple. Very cute, lots of options. If you're looking for a juicy lip balm for fall, take your pick, guys. The world is your oyster, or the world is your peptide lip balm. Well, guys, that's my face done. I'm gonna leave it there. Would love to hear your thoughts on some of these new products. Very, very interesting, fun, new innovations in the makeup world, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please let me know if there's anything that you have your eye on for the upcoming Sephora sale, anything you want me to try, please let me know. If there's any products that you're loving, I'd love to hear from you. I always love to go do a good peruse and a good shop, and also just see how some of my old favorites stand up to what's new in the zoo. So, you guys, that's a little full face of new makeup. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much, as always, for being here, and I'll see you all very, very soon for a new video. Bye!